All right, welcome into Floor's Yours on the 5 Reasons YouTube channel. It's an extension of 5 on the Floor, which you can catch on the podcast feeds and also here on the YouTube channel. Be on the lookout tonight, both on the channel and on our feed. We sat down today with Caleb Martin for about 30 minutes, myself and Brady and Alex. He's got a nickname, Red Bull, and much more that he'll get into there. Also, who does he want to fish with on the Heat, and who would he not fish with on the Heat? So there's a lot of good stuff there. We're just going to hold it back right now for everybody, and we'll give it to you on the podcast feed here and again on the YouTube channel a little bit later. Before I introduce today's crew, I want to introduce one of today's sponsors. I was actually just with him yesterday. Here's the thing about our sponsors. We don't just take anybody, okay? We take people that we trust, and this guy is Mark Brown. You can find him at markbrownpa.com. That's M-A-R-C brownpa.com. You can also find him in North Lauderdale, just north of Cypress Creek off of Andrews. He's in the Wells Fargo building. And Mark can help you out if you're looking for an estate plan. He's the guy to go to. So make sure that your assets, whatever they are, however big or however small, are going to the right place. You don't want to get the wrong person getting your money, right? Go to markbrownpa.com. Again, that's markbrownpa.com. The other thing that he can do for you is they've got the title company right there in-house. So they will handle that for you. We know people are starting to sell houses again. We'll see where the market goes there. But he'll take care of that for you. If you mention 5 Reasons, he'll give you a special deal there as well. So go to markbrownpa.com. There's the phone number, 954-248-40. I can never read because Manny knows. Manny knows my eyes are bad. 40. Come on. Let Gad do it. He's the youngest one here. Go to markbrownpa.com and check it out. Look at Greg. He's washed too. He can't find it either. All right. Anyway, go to markbrownpa.com. He'll take care of it. Oh, there you go, Manny. 248-4068. It's a hell of an ad, Mark. Appreciate your help the other day. All right. We got a couple more sponsors. We'll get to them later. Here's who we got. I'm Ethan Skolnick, I think. Ethan J. Skolnick and then 5 Reasons Sports. Got Greg Sylvander. You can find him at Greg Sylvander. Alex Toledo, you can find at Tropical Blanket. And Gad Cartagena, you can find him at Gad Cartagena, which makes sense. All right, we're going to take your questions here today. And obviously, if you send us money on the Super Chat, we will make sure that we read your question. Okay, so that is the way to get to the front of the line here with us. Manny Chang is producing. What we're going to get into today is an article that none of us read because we don't have Super Chat money, so we're not going to pay. Look at that, my mic situation. So we're not going to pay for a special ESPN subscription because we don't have that Super Chat money, and plus ESPN sucks. So, with the exception of my friend George Sedano, and that's basically about it. So, there's an article on there by Kirk Goldsberry, who is one of their analytics people, who typically does a pretty good job, a pretty thorough job, and this has raised the ire of Heat fans because he listed 6 contenders, 2 of which are playing each other right now, by the way, and one of whom is destroying the other. But he listed 6 contenders, so he listed Milwaukee, Brooklyn, Chicago, Phoenix, Golden State, and Utah. And he had the Lakers and the Heat as what he referred to as dangerous Loomers. So that is the title of this episode. So essentially, outside of that top bracket, we've talked about some of these contenders. And just before we kind of get, again, we don't know his criteria because we didn't bother to read the article, but just a couple of stats that I threw out there today and others have thrown out there that should probably be taken into consideration during this discussion. Bam Adebayo and Jimmy Butler have missed 15 games together. The Miami Heat are 11-4 in those games. Miami Heat have played more road games than any of those other contenders. So all of the ones that we're talking about there, the Heat have played more road games than any of them by far. It's not even close. Okay, add that to the fact that the 3 players, there you go, Greg, you got the guts. The 3 players who the Heat were counting on this year to anchor them, Jimmy Butler, Kyle Lowry, and Bam Adebayo, have played a total of 14 games together the entire season. And the Heat are 9-5 in those games. But that's it, 14 out of 41. We're at the halfway point, okay, and they're on pace to play 28 games together this season. The Miami Heat still, with all of that, okay, are within 3 games of the top seed in the East. They have had more injuries than any of those other teams. I know that people are going to talk about Kyrie being out again. That's his own choice, okay? But Kyrie has missed time. But other than that, Brooklyn has been healthier than Miami has from top to bottom. Milwaukee has been beat up a little bit. We know that. Obviously, Brook Lopez is a significant injury for them. Their big three had missed a lot of time, but they have played together a lot of late. And then there's Chicago, who I don't think any of us believe in. And then you go out west, Phoenix, Golden State have proved legitimate. I don't think anybody believes. But the Heat have beaten Utah twice. And that's the other thing. The Heat are 7-2 against those teams, or 7-3. I'm sorry. They're 7-3 against those teams. All right, go back to the Super Chat comment, and then I'm gonna go to Greg here first. What do you all think the chance of the Heat finishing number 1 seed are? The Nets still have to go through their West Coast trip. Bulls will fall off, in my opinion. All right, we're going to get to that. Hold the question, because that is a good topic. But, Greg, let's start here. The idea that the Heat and the Lakers, Russell Westbrook is shooting 20% over his last 4 games. The Heat and the Lakers are grouped together as dangerous Loomers. Opinion.
Cold as ice. No, we got him right where we want him, right? Like, that's essentially, I actually like the Heat in the position of, like, kind of keep disrespecting us, keep acting like these teams like Chicago are better than the Heat. Like, that's, I almost would prefer it this way. And I know that, honestly, like, you see me trying to meditate and kind of center myself. I have to do my Wim Hof breathing just to get through it, because I'll gain resentment towards Kirk, whatever his Dingleberry name, whatever his name was. Like, it's just ridiculous. Like, Chicago getting thrown in there, I think, is just bizarre. The Lakers, like, when are we gonna sell our stock of the Lakers? Seriously? Like, do we think that this thing's gonna be magically turned around in the playoffs? That's a joke. So I don't take much from it, except for that I love the Heat's position here, because keep doubting them. Let them fly under the radar. Ethan, you've been the one who said this the most, I think, that they are much better coming from this angle than as the favorite, right?
I am. I was going to go to Alex, but he's laughing too hard. So I'll go to Gad.
These
first.
comments are too good, man.
I'll go to Gad next. Of those 6 teams, which is the most offensive to you that's ahead of Miami?
Offensive? Listen, I'm all for Memphis being a really, really good basketball team.
Oh, Memphis is in there. I'm sorry. So is it Memphis and not Utah that was one of the 6?
No, Utah isn't even in the Heat's tier. They're below the Lakers.
Okay.
They're as solid playoff team with Cleveland.
Well, that's the one good prediction he made.
All right. So Memphis is ahead of Miami.
Team.
Memphis is beating Miami, by the way. But anyway, continue.
I think it's both just Memphis and Chicago, right? Like, I'm fine with Golden State, Phoenix, Brooklyn, Milwaukee. Although Brooklyn hasn't looked great, I still trust their top tier talent to get it done, at least to the level where they will absolutely be a championship contender, regardless of what's happening with them. But Memphis and Chicago, I feel like they have the recipe of a team that's really good in the regular season. Memphis, I think, actually could end up being the 3rd best team in the West come playoff time. But I'm not taking either one of them over Miami. Like, anyone who's watched the teams play, I feel like Miami is the team that just makes a lot of sense there as to be like the 5th or 6th best team in the NBA. I think I don't really take offense to any one of them, because I don't particularly care all that much. I don't know the criteria that went into this, but it doesn't seem to make much sense where you have Utah below the Lakers and Miami in the same class as the Lakers. That doesn't make much sense to me. And I think Phoenix, Milwaukee, and Golden State should be ahead of the other teams that are listed with them. I think Miami and Brooklyn should be in the same tier.
Alex, we talk about when are we going to sell the stock in the Lakers? Okay. I mean, this is just a bet that LeBron can, because it didn't happen last year. I mean, LeBron was basically left alone on an island. I thought he had a better team last year than he had this year. And they got blown out by Phoenix out of the playoffs. Like, what are we doing here with them?
Well, I guess it just has a lot to do with like that just giving them the benefit of the doubt, because it's LeBron and AD, and then you had this injury stuff at the end of the Suns series, and I think people kind of attribute the Suns. I mean, not everybody. I'm just saying there's like a good chunk of people who probably attribute it to, AD being out or whatever at the end of that Suns series in the first round. I mean, look, they are what they are. They're a 500 team, and just like a bunch of other teams have had to deal with injuries, COVID protocol stuff, and they've just been bad throughout the season, regardless of who's in or out. And like, obviously, LeBron is still one of the best players in the league, and that's why I think they get that dangerous Loomers title, which I kind of get. But I agree with everything Gad said in the sense, like, it doesn't, like, the groupings don't make a whole lot of sense. Obviously, we didn't read the actual article. Oh, and there's Manny pulling it up.
Look at that, Manny. You have a
Manny has
subscription. What am I
ESPN
paying
Plus?
you?
Your paywall can't stop us.
All right, look at that. All right, see if we can get we can dig in on this a little bit. Exactly what they all right. Here's a 6 true contenders. Manny's scrolling through this. Look at this, Manny coming up clutch here.
Okay, hold on. Can you go?
Okay,
can you
stop
go to the
at
top?
the Heat. Stop at the Heat. Stop. Okay, there we go. All right, stop.
This is incredible content.
I mean, I'm just saying, this is like when you're pouring too much of a shot. All right, can anybody read that now?
Yeah, I'm
Who's
zooming
got
in.
the best eyes here? Go ahead.
I'm zooming in. You want me to? Are we just gonna read it?
I mean,
Tell it-
give me a general sense
Like
of what
show
it
and tell
says.
with the class, Alex. Just
You
read
don't
your
like reading
paragraph.
out loud
Move
in the
on.
class?
Yeah,
Like
we're reading
PowerPoint.
paragraphs like we're back in class. If there's one team in the East that can make the leap into the top tier, it's the Heat. Miami has won 11 of his last 15, thanks in large parts to blah, 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 even though Jimmy has only played in 5 of 15, blah, blah, blah. You know, I'm trying to scan for something important here. He starts naming Omer, Gabe, Max, Caleb, giving credit to Duncan, Kyle for getting their shots back, and then calling them dangerous overall. They have all-stars, they have grit, and have depth. With Spoelstra in place, they could do lots of damage in the playoffs. And that's it.
All right, so it's fairly positive. So I mean, the Chicago one must be absolutely glowing. Let's.
I think we got to see the top where he goes through the criteria, like before he goes into team by team, so we can kind of get more of a sense of the way that he's actually.
Well, see,
doing
I
it.
thought this was going to be more analytics driven because Goldsberry's stuff typically is, but this looks just like sort of. I mean, this looks like pretty much any of their hacks could have written it, essentially. I mean, right? I mean, he does like pretty analytic.
That's
driven
usually what
stuff.
I find myself saying when I read an ESPN Plus article. Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. I mean, he and
Okay,
Zach are the
I
ones that
agree,
tend
though,
to dive into this stuff, Alex. It doesn't appear, just appears he told us stuff that we already. All right, stop on the Bulls.
But
That's
why
a good
is Memphis? Why is Memphis over the Heat here? Like, I understand they've been really good. They're in the top 10, by the way, in both offensive and defensive rating.
As is Miami.
They've kind of been the best team in basketball over the last 2 months.
I know,
So,
but
like, I'm more okay with Memphis than I am Chicago. But either one to me does like I just don't know if this is regarding the regular season because he's saying the true contenders, but come playoff time, I don't think there's any way anyone can believe that these are 2 of the top 6 teams in the league.
Exactly.
Let's go to Darius's comment because he just paid for our ESPN subscription. Go back. We appreciate that. Hold on. Go back. Chicago is better than Miami at losing on their home floor to contenders.
Correct.
Heat Nation. What about that team? Let's dive into
You had me
Chicago.
in the
I
first
think
half, not gonna
Memphis,
lie.
But the Chicago one is more offensive to me because Memphis is in the other conference. Memphis played extraordinarily well without John Morant for a month. Like, I'm not going to – Taylor Jenkins has done a terrific job. In fact, I actually would go Taylor Jenkins over J.B. Bickerstaff as Spoelstra's biggest competition for Coach of the Year. I just don't think most people know who Taylor Jenkins is, okay? But I would put him right there ahead of Billy Donovan and ahead of Steve Kerr, to be honest. But, okay. But the Memphis one, but the Chicago one is the one I don't understand. That's the one that gets me because, I mean, what are we doing here? I mean, I know DeMar DeRozan has performed extremely well this year. I'm a big DeMar fan. He's one of the players whose performance in the playoffs tails off more than any other top level player in the league over the past 10 years. Okay, there was an analytics thing that was done 3 years ago about the Kawhi DeMar trade and explaining it and basically showing that Kawhi's performance went up more than any other star in the league in the postseason and DeMar's went down more. So what are we expecting now? All of a sudden, because he hit a couple of buzzer beaters in the regular season, like DeMar DeRozan is suddenly become a clutch playoff performer? I'm just not buying it. Levine hasn't been in those situations. Neither has Ball, by the way. Okay, so... And Vucevic is garbage this year. So I mean,
also hasn't been in those situations really.
The data definitely suggests Heat in 5. And also as I'm reading through here, it says in their past 16 games, the Bulls ranked 27th in points in the paint. That's their fatal flaw come playoff time. So like, if that doesn't correct itself, I mean, then you can even say that the data really
where
does
are they getting those points when Vucevic wants to stand out at the 3-point line?
Correct.
There's nobody
DeRozan and Levine. Those guys are rim attackers. DeRozan gets to the line a whole lot. So I do think that's something they could adjust. I didn't know like that. That's pretty bad what Leif just pointed out. I just wanted to say I think people will give Chicago more leeway as a playoff team and also me too over Memphis, not over the Heaters or these other teams mentioned because of the just having 2 guys that you can go to when the game slows down who can create a bucket for themselves or for others. I mean, neither are terrific playmakers. I think DeRozan's better passer than Levine, but both guys are tough shot makers in different spots on the floor. Mm-hmm. And I just think they have a pretty spaced out floor at all times, even though I mean, they're playing small. They're probably not going to be great on defense in the playoffs, I don't think. But because of that,
Alex,
they're going to have a lot of guys with
ton of
space.
options. The Heat have a ton of options against the two wings. Okay.
Oh no! Look, I think it's Heat in 5 over the Bulls. I'm just saying.
Right.
I think as far as Bulls versus Grizzlies, the Grizzlies have been the better team as far as overall team. I think when it comes down to the playoffs, you probably give the benefit of the doubt to the team that has 2 more experienced guys who are tough shot makers. Whereas the Grizzlies, you can kind of key in on Ja, and even though it's a really good deep team, you can kind of live with everybody else beating you if you're doing your best to contain Ja.
Well, I think the Memphis thing depends a lot on Jaren Jackson Jr. If he continues to kind of grow and he actually plays in the paint,
how much does he really do on his own though? You know,
I think
he's actually gotten better, like creating on his own though, because I've been lower on him. Like he's shown a lot, Bane's shown a lot, Brooks has shown a lot, and then Taylor Jenkins, he's kind of Spo-esque in the sense that he can plug in any of those other 13 guys on the roster, and they put in work. Like
I like that team better than Chicago in the playoffs. Honestly, can we go back to that comment? I want to get to a couple more of these super chat comments here, and then we want to introduce another of our sponsors. Darius again. Should the Grizzlies win a playoff series first before they're considered contenders? That's Alex's point. I get it,
and they're going to. I think they're going to win if they stay in that 4 seed. They're probably going to win a playoff series.
No, most likely.
I could see them making it to the Western Conference Finals if they avoid Phoenix and Golden State. I think they can beat Utah in a series. Talked about this on Full Court Press.
Yeah,
that'd be a one series.
And people should check that out. And last year they pressed them. And then the comment there from Talking Movies that Chicago basically got a week off from protocols, not before infecting Heat players, but yes, they did get a week break. They did get a week break. All right, I got something else I want to get to here, so let's hold it for a second. Tell you about another sponsor, our friends over at Intense Nutrition. See this? These are the bottles that you're going to get over Intense Nutrition. If you're tired of the 3-letter chain, you know, the one where corporate tells you exactly what it is that they want you to buy, so that's what they sell you. Their Intense Nutrition will work directly with you. This is a family-owned shop up in Coral Springs, okay? They got the Facebook page over in Intense Nutrition, also the Instagram page at Intense Nutrition. They got all the information there. They can help you with the cleanse. You want to lose 10 to 15 pounds in a couple of weeks. It's a place to go. The phone number, 954-775-0257, 954-775-0257. But just look it up, Google it. Go up there at Coral Springs, say hello to Mike and everybody else. They're connected with local gyms as well. They can help you with the pre-workout stuff, the post-workout stuff. And yes, I'm going to grab a ring. No doubt about it. And basically when you go up there, again, tell them exactly what you want because they're going to work directly with you. That is the benefit to going there instead of that chain. So go to Intense Nutrition, again, Facebook, Instagram, check them out in Coral Springs. And if you mention 5 Reasons, they give you 20% off everything in the store but the protein, okay, which, again, covers most of the stuff in the store. So check them out in Coral Springs off of University Drive. All right, so the Nets. I want to get to this because the Vegas agrees with Goldsberry as them being one of the contenders because Vegas has the Nets still. I checked it again today. Prohibitive favorites. In fact, since Kyrie has come back, and now we know there's this whole thing about home, road, whatever, and whether or not they can kind of skirt the rules, it doesn't appear that they can in terms of the way the NBA structured this. They became a more prohibitive favorite in the last week. They still haven't beaten anybody good, right? Like, and so
they beat the Cavs twice, though.
I mean, they stomped the Bulls last night.
Okay,
yeah.
For what it's worth.
And that avalanche that they threw, I think that like what you saw them do to Chicago when they were down 10 and then basically blitzed them on a 40 to whatever run is the reason why everybody is kind of putting a placeholder in the contender seat for Brooklyn, because you just expect that they're going to have nights where they are that good and that potent offensively. So I think that that's like everybody subconsciously is just keeping them in the conversation, even though they haven't beat good teams yet. Similar to the way almost to the first year of the big 3, where, I mean, I hate to like take it back there with that team because y'all know that this big 3 has nothing on that big 3, but it was kind of like even when they were losing to Chicago in the regular season, we all felt like they would turn it around, right? I don't know. Maybe I'm making bad parallels.
They were crying in the locker room after that one. That was during that 0-5 stretch. Remember those? They lost 5 straight home games. They lost to the Bulls in that stretch, and LeBron and Mike Miller and Chris Bosh. Those were the 3, by the way.
So glad they ended up winning titles because, my God, that would look so much worse.
Oh, I know. There's a lot of stuff that if they hadn't covered it up with what happened the second and third year, what happened that first year, there was some ugly stuff there the first season. But
we need the book. I'll help you write it, man. I'm in.
It's got to be in my head because I don't have any of the materials anymore. But anyway, okay. But the comparison that's been made to me is more like the 06 Heat with them, where you're going to need, they don't beat anybody in the regular season. You're going to need Durant to go Wade in the postseason. I don't trust their interior defense. They don't have enough dirty work players in my view. Their bigs are like guys who were like, 3-time All-Stars who were never asked to do anything beyond that, like a Blake, like a Aldridge, like a who's the third? I'm missing the third now. Oh, Millsap. Okay. Like they don't have, Claxton is their only like big who I see like doing that kind of stuff in the playoffs. Like am I wrong about this? Like to me, I don't know why Milwaukee, if I'm a Bucks fan, I would be pissed. Like they should be the favorite, shouldn't they?
I think they are.
But they're not in Vegas. They don't seem to be they're stopping Golden State as we speak right now, right? Like when they have their big three together, they're really good.
I think Giannis is the best player in the NBA. No disrespect to Kevin Durant. But yeah, the Nets front court is a huge, huge issue. I just think they have that trade exception that would fit any players that make as much money as Marvin Bagley or below. They have some young players like Cam Thomas, Daron Sharp. They can also trade Claxton. Like there's ways for them to maybe shore up some of those issues, but absolutely to your point, they don't have those glue guys, those dive on the loose balls and kind of just get you those rah-rah plays in the playoffs that can swing the momentum of a game without putting the ball in the basket. They don't have that. They just have these guys that can hit 6 heat checks in a row. Joe Harris, Patty Mills, Kyrie, James Harden, KD. Like that's frightening. But I don't know.
Patty Mills scares me more as a Heat observer than any of the rest of them, actually.
Yeah.
He's really, really good. Don't want to play against him that much.
What?
Oh my
look
gosh.
at that.
Ben's always coming at my hairline. The fun when Ben said my hairline looks like it just got a DUI, that is one hell of a comment, I have to say. I love that. My hair just goes down. It's pretty straight. But I just
Greg, take off the hat. Greg, take off the hat. Because if we're all gonna show the hairline, take off the hat. Take off the hat. See, you know what?
Thing clean.
Who's this? There we go. Well, no, this is going a little bit. That's
see, I just got a
hairline showcase.
But I got a big
forehead.
I got a decade on you and 2 decades on Alex and probably 4 decades on Gad. So
because I'm self-conscious, y'all got to let me clarify this. I'm 39 years old. My forehead has been this big since I was a little kid. Like this is not a receding hairline. That's where this dude lines me up in the barbershop since I was 14 years old. Like I just got a big ass head and a big forehead.
You know what happens though as you get older? I've realized I need more haircuts because the ends always get gray now for me. So it's like when you actually have less hair, you need to get more haircuts. But you're almost at that point, Greg, where it's just like
no. But I'm not bald up top. My grandfather was 104 years old and had a full head of hair. That will be me as well. I'm not a balding person. Look up here. I do have a gray stripe going down right here. This is great content, by the way.
Yeah,
this is good. I think this is what Ricky's going to clip. All right, let me ask you guys this one. Of those teams in the East that he mentioned, because if they get to the finals, then everybody's going to be happy anyway. But losing to Milwaukee, Chicago, these are the only teams that the Heat could lose to in the postseason, by the way, in the East. Milwaukee, Chicago, or Brooklyn. Which would piss you off the most, Greg?
Chicago.
I didn't ask you. Greg, go ahead. I'll get to you next.
He answered for me. I don't even think Chicago has a chance of beating the Heat, but that would really piss me off because then everyone would come pull the receipts out of my Twitter feed. So I don't want that.
You can't lose to the Bulls.
Yeah, Brooklyn and Milwaukee, like Katie is amazing. Brooklyn's the defending champion.
It would piss you off more to lose to Milwaukee with the history.
I was going to say Milwaukee for me is like, I want that round 3 really bad. I understand they're probably the better team and they should win that series. We should beat Chicago. So like the math is not mathing there, but man, I just want to beat Milwaukee so badly because those 2 series, we embarrass each other. I want an absolute dogfight between these teams where we take it to 7 and I don't know who it is. I don't care, but someone hits a dagger late in the game and the Heat win, hopefully at FTX. I really want to beat Milwaukee, man. And losing to them, losing that 3-round series would hurt so bad. It really would.
See, for me,
losing to Harden would be
losing to Harden.
Yeah, that would suck. It would suck.
For you, it's losing to Harden and Kyrie.
Oh my God, my 2 least favorite players in the entire league.
But it's Durant. Like It's Kevin
I mean, it's
Durant.
KD. I respect KD. I mean, I know others don't. I do. I don't
Losing to
respect the other
David
two.
Duke Jr.
Oof.
That cannot happen.
And LaMarcus Aldridge too, who turned down the Heat. That would piss Heat fans off
gives a
also
shit?
if he had anything to do with it.
He's
Oh,
10th in All-Star voting in the front court. I mean, like,
Oh,
they got to
man.
let the fans stop voting. I am with Nikias. I listen to the Dunker Spot religiously, and he takes All-Star balloting very seriously.
I
And
know.
I don't know that I'm that far as him, but I think the fans should take their vote away.
Well, I saw Tyler dropped out of the top 10, which means he has no chance to make the All-Star team because we talked about this before the voting started, that Tyler needed the bump from the fans, right? Because you got the three different the fans, the coaches, and the players, right?
But not for the reserves.
He's not getting it from the play, right?
I think that's only the starters. Gad,
Oh, that's only the
Alex,
starters.
you guys correct me, but I think that the reserves are still coaches exclusively, correct?
He's not getting it from the coaches.
I'm not 100%
Coaches
sure.
and players. Are
Oh,
the
that could be.
reserves,
That
I
could be.
wanna
But the
say.
fans don't have anything to do with the
Fans
And I
don't
think
have
there's like a
anything to do
media
with it.
vote there as well. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, Tyler's not getting that either.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Jimmy's going to be their participant.
Yeah, it makes the most sense for it to be Jimmy. He's been our best player by far when he's played. And I don't know if the games played thing is as much of a concern this year as it's been made out to be. Everyone caught COVID.
Yeah.
Everyone's missed games at some
Embiid's
point.
only played 6 more games than Jimmy.
Who?
Embiid, and they're both in the front court. And I'm only saying that because I made my selections today for something we're doing coming out soon. By the way, we're just gonna tease that. There's gonna be a bunch of our
I got mine in
selections there.
too.
Oh, I need to do
And-
mine also. I forgot.
Spoiler alert: I threw Jimmy in the starters over Embiid.
Well, there you go.
I
Well, he's
wonder
going to
why.
be here. He's going to be here eventually anyway. But can't you make? Don't clip that. Can't you make the case too? And then we got one more sponsor, and then we're going to close this thing up. Can't you make the case too that it really should be Kyle?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, he's the one who's held this thing together.
I
If
only
Draymond
put
and
Jimmy.
CP3 make it, absolutely.
The only
They-
reason I put Jimmy over Kyle is because the guard spot in the East is so crowded with deserving
They're gonna
candidates.
get one. They're gonna get one.
It's
You
gonna
can
be
already
Jimmy.
tell the lack of respect here. They're gonna get one.
It's perfect. See, this is all exactly what we need. We need Kirk, whatever his name was.
Dingleberry.
Not him. He's not counting us in. The All-Star voting will only get one guy. Spoelstra should really be the representative for the Miami Heat. Let's
Again.
be honest.
He doesn't
No,
want
Remember
to.
last
though.
season?
Oh, of
0
course he does. He
All-Stars.
wants to chill at home. Who would not want to chill at home?
It's Cleveland. Nobody
I know.
wants to go. Trust me. Jimmy might decline the invitation again. Okay, like seriously, they may end up with nobody.
Tyler
there.
would go. Tyler would go, and he would.
The
go
only
try to
person
hunt
who's going from
baskets.
South Florida doesn't even live in South Florida, and that's Greg Sylvander, because you can have that damn credential.
No, I'm not going either.
Look, you just decided that because
Yeah.
I realized it's not my birthday weekend, so I might
I'll go.
actually go.
It is my birthday weekend, but I don't want to go.
Yeah, if anybody wants
Cleveland
to go
and
to-
COVID, that's a bad mix, man.
yeah, that's no Cleveland and anything is a bad mix. All right, I want to introduce one more sponsor here, and then we're going to close this thing up. Everythingtradeshows.com is where you go if your company's going back to trade shows. We know they're back here at the convention centers, whether it's Broward or in Miami. They could do the booth rendering for you for free. If you mention 5 reasons, they'll show you exactly how the thing's going to look. They work with companies like Microsoft, Citrix, many others that you can see there. They certainly can help your company as well. We know with COVID, again, you may not have your whole company back right now, so turn it over to them. Let them do it and get back out in front of people. Wear your mask, though, of course. Everythingtradeshows.com. Reach out to our friend Chris Chase. They're based right here off of Las Olas, right down the street from me. They service all 50 states. The phone number, 954-791-8882, 954-791-8882. Thank you. Everythingtradeshows.com. All right, we're going to close with this, okay? There's a Heat question. This is not who you think will be squeezed out of the rotation, okay? Not who you think. Who will you be most upset not to be able to watch if he's squeezed out of the rotation? As a Heat observer, well, I know Gad's answer, so I'm going to go to him last. Who would what was upset you the most? Spo goes down to 9, okay? Let's say eventually everybody's healthy, including Vic. Somebody gets squeezed. Who would be the player you would be most upset to see squeezed out of the rotation? Alex first.
Damn it! I was hoping you wouldn't go to me first. So, are we going just guys who have stepped up recently?
Guys you like watching perform, and you would be most upset that they get squeezed out of the rotation.
Okay, I'm going Caleb then. Caleb, because I love what he does, point of attack, and obviously just the super exciting stuff he does as a finisher, whether it's the acrobatic stuff or obviously all the dunks. He's catching posters, like catching bodies like every other game. And we just talked to him today, so I'm a little biased. So yeah, Caleb.
Greg?
I'm gonna actually go Max Strus because I have grand dreams of Max Strus replacing Duncan Robinson's skill set at some point in time, maybe next trade deadline. So I want to see that through. So I'm hoping Max continues to play. But there's also an element of me that would be a little disappointed and probably unnecessarily if Depot didn't get his shot. Because if he's not in the playoff rotation, that means that he does not look right and that experiment is not going anywhere. And that's kind of a bummer, I guess. So I'll give it a tie between Max and Depot.
Yad? Show your love.
You already know where I'm going here. Gabe Vincent. I love everything that this man does on the basketball floor. He plays defense. He play makes. He shoots threes. He only really takes good shots, except for the occasional step back off the punch dribble. But that's something that he makes. But I also think it's because I don't really see Caleb getting squeezed. I think Markieff gets squeezed before him, if healthy, obviously. But between assuming it would be Gabe and Strus, I would definitely be more upset with Gabe being squeezed. I just like watching him play more. He does a lot more things that resonate with the way that I like to watch basketball.
All right, I'm gonna go off the board. I think all three of those are good choices. I'm gonna go with Dwayne Dedman. And
digging your heels in here.
Because I just feel like there's going to be a Dwayne Dedman moment in the playoffs, right? And we saw it last year against Milwaukee when nobody else could do anything. And Dwayne just went off for a quarter. We had like an 8 rebound quarter. But also, I don't think anybody's going to F with them with Dedman on the court. And I feel like we're headed for a playoff series where that
destroy Bobby Portis.
There's right, exactly. Okay. Well, we know what PJ is going to do, but there's going to be some scuffles. There's no question about it. This Heat team is built for that. And I want to. I understand the push for Omer to play. I get it. To me, Dwayne Dedman is their backup center for this season. Omer is a project who has paid off this year, and you continue to develop him. He also could be a piece that they can flip if they want to go get something else. And that's a conversation we were having on our thread about PJ Washington and others today, which is a talk for another time. But anyway, it's interesting because I do think that Heat fans become attached to certain guys. I will say this.
Heat fans will be upset if they don't see Yurt.
Oh, no, there's no question. There's no question. Well, people will be upset if they don't see Vic, too. That's the other one, but for other reasons. But now, one thing I'd say, I'm glad we mentioned this. We've now had Gabe, Caleb, and Max on the pod this year. So check out the Caleb pod, which is going up. It's a lot of fun. It's going to go up on the YouTube channel and on the podcast feeds. Also, check out PJ as the backup center in the playoffs. Well, Adam, I agree on something.
Matchup dependent.
Adam, go back to watching Bobby Portis. All right, that's it. I know that's
also learn the game.
Yeah. You know what? Let's close there. Have a good night.